Everyone keeps saying that Gen Z is doomed. They're wrong. Put me on record saying that Gen Z will contain some of the greatest parents of any generation, not despite of what they've been through, but because of it. See, my generation made a ton of parenting mistakes because we just didn't know any better. But Gen Z has seen the fallout of our mistakes in real time. They're more aware of toxic technology, more aware of unhealthy traditions, and more determined to break cycles than any generation that has come before. That's why all the Gen Z bashing completely misses the point. Your childhood will not keep you from being a good parent. It was preparing you to be a good parent. And by the end of this video, I think you'll realize that you are more prepared for parenthood than you believed. Let me show you the first mistake that I made alongside my generation that I still regret. But first, while I was a child, I still remember sitting in my parents' den on the dial-up computer in a chat room with complete strangers who were asking me personal questions. My parents had no idea. And then I grew up and followed in the same kind of mistakes. When my children were little, I regret the time they spent on a screen, and I had no idea that those moments were like water I was pouring out on hot pavement that would never come back to me. But if you're Gen Z, you know the dangers of technology firsthand. How old were you when you got your first iPad? How old were you when you got hooked on technology? Were you a 4-year-old playing video games? A 6-year-old with a tablet? Or a 12-year-old with a phone? How did it change your childhood? I want to hear it in the comments below. Because you lived through it, you are uniquely equipped to fix it. Because Gen Z will not let a screen steal a childhood. Gen Z parents don't want to be the ones that hand their kid an iPad but won't let them play on a playground because it's too dangerous. They imagine a new life for their child. They know that you can't build a real childhood on a screen. They want their kids to go and scrape their knees and fall out of trees and dig in the mud and make pots. They want to live the shared adventure with their children in the real world. And I'm excited to see your kids grow up. Now, about half of Gen Z parents are concerned about their kids' early technology use and half are not. But I think my next 2 points hits it on the head with more of you. Let me back up again to my own childhood. I remember sitting in that same den on the internet, and I came across the travesty of bonsai kittens. I was absolutely horrified. Someone was growing kittens with their heads in a glass jar so that the kitten would become the shape of the glass jar. I remember telling my parents about this at the dinner table, and they totally made fun of me. But I've done the same thing as an adult. When I was dating my husband, came across a personality quiz, I think it was Myers-Briggs, that said that we were not compatible. And I was devastated. Thankfully, my husband was not devastated, and after 19 years, we're still happily married. But I've done that again as a young parent. Some pseudo-experiment tells me something that I need to be concerned about, and I worry. But Gen Z is different. They've been burned so many times, they know that you have to be skeptical of everything on the internet. They deeply want truth that they can actually trust, and they know that truth has to reach back further than the internet itself. I felt this way too. I remember being in my early 20s, and I wanted a faith that reached back deeper. I wanted prayers that people had prayed before for hundreds of years. I started to love the Old Testament and realized that these are my people, and my faith is not shallow or contemporary or made up. It is based off of ancient wisdom. There is a returning with Gen Z as they reach back to something more substantial than modern psychology. And as they build their lives on the very Word of God with its ancient wisdom, it will prepare them for every good work. Growing up a healthy skeptic can make you reach out for something that is true. And I can't wait to see your children standing firm on the Word of God and walking forward courageously, grounded in the truth. You are building your family on a rock, not a trend. Gen Z will refuse to let a shallow culture form their children's future. The third thing applies to 99% of Gen Zers, and it may be actually the root of their insecurity and their lack of confidence, but it also is their greatest advantage in moving forward in parenting. When I was a young mom, I felt very unsure of myself. When I was making decisions, I felt like I had to navigate everything. And when people were around, I knew I'm just winging it. So I felt very uncertain about what I was deciding. Forging a new path is like going off script. It's a little scary. You don't know exactly where you're going to end up. But Gen Z knows that their actions will impact their children deeply. They are intensely self aware and introspective when it comes to their family dynamics. When you refuse to pass on the way that you have been parented, so you're forging a new path, you're probably not going to be very confident. In a world obsessed with looking like you have it all together, feeling uncertain feels like a flaw. But in parenting, it's your secret weapon. But this is your advantage because Gen Z has no problem admitting that they don't know and seeking help. And in James, it says that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Your authenticity is your superpower. Because you are brave enough to seek help, the cycle stops with you. Bottom line, with all the bashing of Gen Z, plus the uncertainty of breaking a cycle and forging a new path, it's no wonder that you may not have the most confidence as a parent. And that humility, that willingness to say, I need a roadmap for this new path, is exactly where your victory begins. To give you that roadmap, my husband and I created an assessment tool that helps you diagnose where your kids are in relation to the greatest disasters that the culture has prepared for them, probably when they hit the teenage years. And we've already talked about some of those issues with technology and with leaving the faith. If you want to stop guessing and start building a foundation on rock, click the link in the description below to take the audit today. Before you go, I want to hear from you. What is the biggest cycle you're trying to break in your own family? Let me know in the comments so we can support each other. You are so set up to do the great work that Jesus Christ has called you to do. And I'm excited to see your kids grow up. Let me leave you with this verse that has meant so much to me so many times. The Lord is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or abandon you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. God bless your family.